Hey friends, welcome back to OG Universe. Thank you so much for stopping by. This is going to be a fun one, guys. We are taking a look at the new McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Gold Label exclusive Superman from Action Comics. Now, we originally got Action Comics Superman. He's one of the initial releases when the line kicked off way back in 2020, and we got an updated version here. We've had a few other versions as well, but we're going to go through an extensive look at a lot of Supermans in my collection that are more classic, a little more, not off the rails, so to speak, not a gladiator Superman, not a Dark Knight death metal kind of Superman. We're looking at as close as we can get to a comic book accurate, slight variations, stuff like that. Maybe a Superboy here and there, but we're going to take a look at this figure. Now, this is brand new, just released, and it's been tough to find here in Winnipeg where I live. If you didn't pre-order it, you're probably not going to get this figure. I went through a couple GameStops just to find a couple Platinum Chases. No one has it, and it's a shame because this is a different Superman. If you missed out on the original release or one of the maybe re-releases, this is a really good opportunity to get that kind of classic, really classic Superman. I'm going to say that, really classic. But let's take a look at the packaging, what we get, and we're doing a deep dive on Action Comics Superman. So the packaging, you do get a flight stand, which is fantastic. Trading card artwork, which looks really good. On the side here, you got Superman Action Comics. On the back, you got that same artwork on the trading card. Really nicely done. More modern interpretation, and hopefully we'll get a Superman like this. In between, kind of ripping off the shirt, you got the Superman logo underneath. Hopefully, we get that figure one day. And you also get a little bit bare bones accessories. You get two kind of flying, gesturing hands, and that's it. But this figure does have a lot of good things going for it. As you can see in the background here, we have the original. This is my original, very first purchase from McFarlane Toys. We got Action Comics 1000. You got that big, broad chest logo. And it's pretty damn cool. I like the metallic finish on that. They did a metallic finish on this, but this is before the dawn of wired capes, cloth wired capes. So we had this more rigid kind of plastic cape. Superman Action Comics 1000. So there's the difference, guys. We have a nice cross cell. Missed those cross cells at the bottom. Some beautiful artwork from Jim Lee as well from Action Comics 1000. And there we go. We got our Action Comics Superman. Now, one thing that's very different from the original, the chest. The chest has been reworked, a little bit of a redesign. We don't have that massive S logo. We don't even have a sculpted logo. It is a printed on metallic finish logo, but it looks really damn good. I really like these metallic logos. I think could do a bit more metallic. I think that would be cool. But one thing that really stood out when I got this figure and kind of played around with it, the colors. It's a really deep saturated blue, and I don't think it shows up as well as it should on my camera. I mean, it is a very nice, rich blue, darker tone. We've had a lot of darker tone Superman outfits, and then it kind of moved up to a lighter shades, which we've seen, and we're going to see in a few other Superman figures, but this one is just really nice. It captures that perfect blend. Now the cape, man, the cloth wired cape is really well done, and look at that S logo. It's not crazy large. It's, I think, a perfect size for the back of the cape. Sits well, just feels good. This cape feels really nice. It's a really good quality cape. Some of the Batman capes that feel kind of like a nylon material. This is a really nice soft goods cape. You got the wire stretching all the way through here, so you're going to get a lot of posability. And like I said, that cloth wired cape just adds an extra range of posability and articulation to give your Superman or your Batman, whoever it is, a really dynamic range of posability and motion. I think it looks awesome. The head sculpt as well. It's that original head sculpt, a slight repaint, a little tweaked here and there, but I think this is one of the nicer head sculpts. Using this original head sculpt, we've seen a little too much blush on the cheek, so to speak, a little weird kind of things going on with the ears, but this one is damn awesome. I think this could be your definitive look for Superman. That S curl, perfect. The hair looks great. He just looks stern, angry, but it's Superman. You can tell this is Superman, and he looks really damn good. There is a couple things because this is a G1 body buck for Superman that are a bit of a miss. Biggest thing, these ball joints for the ankles. They are massive. They don't match the color scheme for the boots. Simple toy surgery, you can pop and swap those. Just boil that ankle joint up, pop those off, put it in a more sculpted boot, ball joint, and you'll be fine. So that's a simple fix. The wrists aren't too bad because they're kind of hidden by the extra little bit of material there on the cuffs. So that's not too bad, but unfortunately still stick with that kind of a little bit of a skinnier leg. The side profile's not too bad. It's got some musculature going on, but on the front, a little too thin. So if you guys want to swap out those legs, it's pretty easy to do. Boil and pop that hinge right at the top that just goes in, pop them out, put whatever legs that you want to match up with. But overall, this is a really nice looking figure, hindered by a little bit of G1 articulation and kind of ugliness in that ball joints, but he's still pretty damn cool. So for articulation, let's see how this guy holds up. The head can look up pretty good. You got some flight poses going on there. Down nice. You got some side attitude going on. Fantastic. He has a spacer joint. So you're going to get a little bit extra range of motion, but mine is extremely stiff, which is good. He's not loose and floppy, which has not been an issue with my McFarlane toy figures. They have all really been tight articulation. Nothing's coming off. Nothing's breaking. And unfortunately, single jointed elbow, which is a shame. They couldn't upgrade that and give him a new set of arms. Unfortunately, they didn't. But for a torso articulation, you can go back, not too much. So again, toy surgery here. There's a ball peg that's stuck right up in here. It's in really deep. You probably just got to boil and pop this chest piece, take the abdominal piece out as well, lower that ball joint, and you'll be fine. You'll get some extra range of motion. Unfortunately, he can hinge a little bit forward. He has a ball joint at the waist, ball joints at the hips, double jointed ratcheted knees. Toe articulation, these really ugly ball joints here, swivel, everything else, rocker joints. So he is stacked for articulation for what he was, and that's a G1 release. And I remember seeing this figure, and I'm like, yeah, he's pretty damn cool for a Superman. It was back then probably the most articulated Superman we have ever had. So I do want to bring this Superman in again because I want to take a look at the blues on this guy. Now the blue is a bit of a lighter shade. It's more of a matte finish. Again, with that metallic logo. That's a huge S logo. I think it's almost too big for this figure. But in regards to it, the head sculpt is really nice as well. I think it is identical to the original head sculpt that we see on this figure. Slightly painted a little bit different, a little bit of shadowing on it, but still very nicely done. Now I want to bring in the closest thing that we got to that original Action Comics 1000 release, and that was this Superman. This was released as an Amazon exclusive, and in Canada, GameStop exclusive, thank you. And this is probably the closest one we have to an Action Comics 1000 Superman that I'm going to open up, take a look at. And this one here, it does have that lighter shade of blue. Everyone was wanting that lighter shade of blue, and I really do like it. Unfortunately, nothing on the back. The cape is really nice. It's a beautiful sculpted cape. A little bit of a stiffer material going on here, but not too bad. The colors are really nice. I really do like the colors on this guy. The red looks great. The blue looks really good. Now the face sculpt is quite nice as well, but unfortunately mine did have a bit of a weird kind of defect going on with his ear. His ear was popping out a little too much. It almost looks like an elf ear. And it's a little deformed and it sticks out and it actually has a bit of a sharp point. I'm like, what the hell? And unfortunately, this figure came out in the 2-pack with Atomic Skull. You couldn't see the window box. It was completely covered up. So it's an online exclusive. You're going to get a shipper shipped to your place, whatever the case may be. GameStop even had it. And unfortunately, you couldn't tell what the heck was inside. So you couldn't kind of pick the best paint jobs. But this one did have a little bit of a missculpt on the ear, but still a really nice looking Superman. And this one does have that bigger logo on the chest. So comparing these two, which one do I like better? I'm probably going to stick with this one because that cloth wired cape looks great. The S logo isn't stretched out as much. The metallic finish on it, the colors look really great, and that head sculpt is perfection, in my opinion. Still, this was a fantastic 2-pack to get this lighter shade of blue, Atomic Skull, all the diorama pieces, the flame effects, and man, just having Atomic Skull to start with was fantastic. But this Superman, between the two, this is our winner still. Still a winner, but fantastic looking Superman. Now let's bring in some other figures that we can pair. We got this big bad boy, Superman Returns. He's based on the Dark Knight body buck for Superman. Again, a lighter shade of blue, a really nice shade of blue. This figure was the first figure that I really did like the body buck. We've seen it used quite a few different times already, probably like 4 times already for Bizarro, and then Beginning Superman, the original Dark Knight Returns Superman, and now this one. I really do like the proportions. It's a fun action figure. It's big, chunky. You can just imagine him playing around with your Transformers or your G.I. Joe figures, Thundercats, whatever the case may be. He-Man even. It's just a cool, fun kind of throwback to what action figures kind of used to be like. Big chunky figures. I like this one a lot. We did have to do some toy surgery because the neck just sat way too low on this body. So we used an extended neck peg, and he has all sorts of range of motion now. It is fantastic. And it is a slight reworking of that original Action Comics 1000 head sculpt as well, just with longer hair, slightly different paint job. But again, a very nice figure. And comparing these two, there is a massive difference. This is a very swollen Superman. He is jacked up to the max, which can be a bit off-putting if you want to have, say, a Justice League lineup or Superman from a comic book version. This one definitely takes the cake, and it's a really strong Superman. If it's beating out this one, which I really do like, but again, I think this is their better Superman between the two. So it's doing pretty good so far. Let's take a look at some other Superman figures. Now, this one here is my Hush Superman. Now, not my definitive one. I didn't do a lot of toy surgery on this. I just swapped out the net peg. And this was my favorite Superman for the longest time. This body buck was fantastic. A bit more proportionate, bigger body. I put the Red Sun Superman head on there. And one thing I really liked about this figure, we did have that S logo on the back. But, again, it's a harder shell cape. Wasn't quite nice as that wired cape. That's still an amazing cape. But this one here, I really do like the look of this figure. The extended neck peg just did wonders for it, and I really like this kind of look. It's a different take on Superman. It's not the clean, happy-go-lucky. He looks like he's been through some stuff. He's looking pretty pissed off here. But it's still a really fun-looking addition to the Superman collection. And again, if we're comparing these two, man, this one still holds out as my favorite. Now, I would like to probably switch the legs on these two, do some repainting to match the upper torso, and I think you'd have one of the best Supermans. But still, between the two, I'm getting into this Action Comics Superman. This is a great one, but not quite there yet. Now, let's bring in a couple other figures that I just want to see how they kind of look with this Superman. And this here is the Jonathan Kent Superman, John Kent. Now, he does have a new head sculpt. It's from the Connell Superman. Swap those out. Just wanted to bring these two in to see how they look together. I really do like this body buck. It's a slimmer body buck, used lots of times on a lot of Titans figures. Nightwing, unfortunately, too, with the Nightwing figure that didn't turn out that great. But these two look really good together. I like the proportions. Slimmer body buck for young adult John Kent, which works perfectly. I like the costume, too. Hopefully, we're going to see an updated version of this guy in his more contemporary costume with the cape. Hopefully down the road we're going to see that. Most likely we are going to see that. And I really do like the color contrast between these two. A very light shade of blue compared to this darker tone. And still, you can see these two guys work well together. And I really appreciate that. Considering this is a G1 body buck, it's still kind of outpacing and beating some of the other characters that have the Superman newer body buck. But it's just something about this Superman. The cloth cape is doing wonders. The color scheme, couple things I definitely work on, but I just wanted to bring this guy in to see how they look, and they look really damn good together. Now, let's bring in some more Superman, because we have a ton of Superman in our collection. Now, this one here is one of my favorite figures that has been released from McFarlane Toys, and that is the Page Puncher Superman, retooled significantly to make your electric blue Superman. And this is a phenomenal retooling. Now, we've seen a lot of reviewers talk about, retooling, using the same body buck. If McFarlane used new body bucks every single time he made a figure, he'd probably be out of business because it's impossible. Every toy company, from Mattel with He-Man, with our Marvel Legends from Hasbro, reuse body parts, reuse body bucks. We are getting a hell of a lot of figures, but it's great to see this figure here. It's a fan favorite, one of mine that I didn't even know I wanted, but I wanted it so bad when I saw it, and I'm glad I got both versions, the red version and this electric blue. They look fantastic together. This body block is incredible. It's been used previously to great extent, and I think just seeing these two guys on your Superman shelf, they look great. Now, which one do I like better? They're two different styles of Superman, so I really can't say this one's better, this one's better. They're so different, but this one is definitely one of my favorite figures that came out this past year. The entire wave of the Plastic Man Build-A-Way figure from JLA is phenomenal. Definitely pick it up, hunt those figures down because they are truly some of the best. Even the Batman, which was so one of my least favorites, isn't too bad really. But these two look fantastic together, and they look great on your Superman shelf. And then in addition, let's bring in some more of our classic guys. So this one here, we're going with a darker tone of suit. And this is our Worlds at War Superman, kind of the Ed McGuinness style. I really do like this Superman. Again, using that Dark Knight Returns body buck with a brand new head sculpt, which just, it's Ed McGuinness' artwork to a T. It's so damn good. It looks phenomenal. And on the back, what I really appreciated is this big black S logo. It looks fantastic, true to the comics where he was sporting this costume and had that look. Fantastic figure. I love the way they did the black logo with the red instead of the yellow. Looks phenomenal. To kind of like in the same palette for color tones of that blue. But again, man, I don't know. This figure's still winning it. This one is really close. Has a lot of bells and whistles, but single jointed elbows, you got that. The articulation on the ankles, you still got those ugly ball joints, but they're hidden better by these longer cuffs for the boots. Still, I like both of these Superman figures a lot. But this is the one that's winning between these two. It's kind of like our contest of champions, so to speak. Who's going to be the best Superman? Somebody's going to dethrone this Superman. We'll see. The video keeps going on. We got a lot more Supermans to go through. Hope you're enjoying this video. If you are, like, comment, subscribe, turn on those bell notifications so every time I produce a video, boom, it goes automatically into your feed. All right, let's continue on with our little tournament of champions here, and let's see who else we got. This one here. Yes, this one is another one that's really not comparable, but I wanted to bring him in because I want to see a size comparison, and that is our Cyborg Superman. This Cyborg Superman is absolutely incredible. It is one of the best figures that McFarlane Toys has produced this year. I would say it's probably like maybe number 2. There is one out there. I think I will do a top 10 for this year. Expect that coming pretty soon. We're almost at the end of the year, but this is an absolutely spectacular figure. I did have to do toy surgery on it, repaint all the silver because the silvers didn't match. I went with a metallic silver. Unfortunately, it had a very dull, lackluster silver. Had to paint the spacer joints as well, the jawline, the neck. Everything had to be repainted silver on this guy, but it turned out really well. And he towers over this Superman. And I'm thinking, was this originally supposed to be a Page Puncher's figure in some assortment? Because the Page Punchers are almost in a different scale. They're a little bit bigger, but kind of comparing the two, this G1 Superman compared to this Superman, this Cyborg Superman, man, this is an epic battle in the making. These two will have some pretty cool fights. I am hoping and praying 2025 is the year that we see our classic Hank Henshaw Superman. Give me a 4-pack of the Return of Superman, the Death of Superman, whatever the case may be. We need to have that figure in our action figure assortments. Hopefully, McFarlane Toys make that happen, please. We all want to see that. But I like the scaling between these two guys because I really like this Cyborg Superman being bulkier and very imposing. Very cool looking action figure for sure. And then we're starting to get to our nitty gritty of our finalists, so to speak. Now, another figure I want to bring in just because I think they did a phenomenal job on it, and that is our Justice Lord Superman. Fantastic looking Superman that came with the Kryptonite armor Batman Beyond. One of the stellar 2-packs that have come out. Now, this was a really kind of an old release that finally hit Target where I picked it up and almost a year, close to a year after it was initially released. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe I have extra stock, whatever the case may be, but I'm glad I picked it up and it was a really good price as well. This is a phenomenal looking Superman. I really do appreciate all the attention to detail. It's the Hush body buck, but the head sculpt is phenomenal. And of course, with that Hush body buck, you are going to have to do toy surgery. You're going to have to remove that small stumpy neck pig to get this better range of motion, which this figure has. He is extremely striking, a fantastic head sculpt, but unfortunately, it's sat so low on the neck joint that you can get any range of motion. We extended that neck pig. Check out my toy surgery shorts where we extended it and we gave this guy so much more articulation. And man, look at that. Just awesome side attitude, looking down and posing. Couldn't do any of that before we did toy surgery. So toy surgery is super important to get the best out of your action figures and so easy to do. You want to subscribe for more toy surgeries that we have coming up. Very awesome Superman. And one more figure that I wanted to bring in that's really not comparable, but in the sense of it being a true kind of Superman, but we do have the Conor Kent version of Superboy. I love this figure. It does have the Jonathan Kent head sculpt. We swapped it out. Man, it's been one of my favorite head sculpts. I like to see these two guys together as well. The height difference looks pretty not too good. I'm gonna say he is a smaller body buck. This one just a little bit taller. We needed a little bit of more height because look at that. They are virtually the same height. And for Superboy, I don't know. They're okay. I don't mind it, but I think he should have been just maybe a little bit shorter. You, my friend, a little bit taller, but they still look great together. And on your Superman shelf, they'll still look really good. All right, so now we're bringing in our kind of final three finalists. These are the final three figures that I think represent Superman the best, that have been the best articulation, sculpted details, a little bit of toy surgery here and there to make them better, but they're the classic Supermans in his classic costumes and colors. So let's bring out this guy here. This one is our Page Puncher Superman. He was that smiley face Superman that, man, it was polarizing. I didn't like it one bit. They should have added an alternate head sculpt to give him a more fierce, stern look, because that Superman with a smile was a little bit goofy and just didn't suit my likings. But the body buck was amazing. Page Puncher Superman, lighter tones, more saturated, vibrant red and yellows, and that head sculpt is from our Superboy Prime. A fantastic figure, unfortunately plagued with side eye. That's why it's kind of at this pose, but one of my absolute favorite Superman. And this Superman can be used as a Legionnaire Superboy if you really wanted to go that route, because he is a bit of a smaller, thinner body buck. And with that head sculpt on there, he does have a little bit more of a younger look to him. So kind of early in his career, I think it looks fantastic. Here, we'll take a little bit of a closer look. The cape, unfortunately, is a heavily sculpted, stylized cape, but it's a bit of a softer, pliable material. The head sculpt is absolutely phenomenal. The S logo looks great. We did have to switch out those hands because he had huge watermelon hands that were just massive. Swap those out with our Return of Superman figure, and conversely, they work fantastic on this one. So I really do like this sculpted details on the boots. I like that little S logo going on there. I know a lot of people don't think it's classic, but it's stylized. It's okay to be a different style because this really does represent a different take for Superman, and he looks fantastic. Between the two, oh, this is a really tough one, but I'm thinking this is still my favorite Superman between the two. And it's hard to say that because this is a G1 and they've done a lot of advancements in articulation, style, sculpt with this guy, but unfortunately, I still really dig this Superman. I'm thinking maybe if we did some toy surgery, put this head sculpt onto that body buck, I think we'd have another winner. We're going to try that out in a later toy surgery short. Stay tuned for that. But I really do like the way these guys look and such a comparison and contrast with that dark, saturated blue compared to this light, kind of happy, almost like a Metropolis blue. I'll call it that. It's a happy Metropolis blue. Really nice figure though, but I think this new Action Comics one is taking the win here. Now, we do have a couple more figures. Let's bring in this bad boy. This is our Crisis on Infinite Earth Superman. It did have an old man Superman head. Superman that looks like he's in his 60s, late 60s. It was a little too big for this body buck, to be honest with you, too. But this one was a fantastic Superman because of that cloth cape. This new body buck they used is absolutely incredible. And he is using a Rebirth Superman head sculpt. Now, that Rebirth Superman, man, it sucked. I'm going to say that. I'm really sorry. But man, I have some harsh opinions about that figure. The cape was terrible. They didn't paint the lines on the boots. they painted them above, which were sculpted in. It didn't make any sense to me. And man, I took that figure apart so many times, and that became kind of like my guinea pig, my test subject when I'm doing toy surgery and making a new Superman and figuring out how articulation works. How can I improve it? I took that figure apart so many times. It's still in functional, good shape, which is surprising. But well, it's a testament to the great engineering that McFarlane Toys has. Now, this Superman is fantastic. What I didn't like about it was that S sculpt. The S logo, excuse me, wasn't sculpted on. It's just stamped on, just like this one. But imagine if that was a metallic finish. That would look really cool, but wouldn't sit well with the character and the wit he's representing from Crisis on Infinite Earths. He does have an extremely large S logo, like too large in my opinion, but true to what I guess was in the comics. The cloth wired cape is phenomenal. Again, look at that articulation in the cape. It just sets it off. And man, you can just put Superman in a bunch of wild poses, wind taking that cape everywhere. And again, this head sculpt is really nice, but as you can tell, it does have some darker tones. It's painted a little differently. And I don't know, it doesn't look too bad in my opinion, but the body buck is an absolute stellar home run. If we would have gotten this body buck using these colors, the metallic S logo, I think we would have had our definitive Superman, in my opinion. The classic look, the clean cut Superman that everybody wants, and it's fantastic to see that we came so close, but not yet there. This blue, again, I'm going to call it Metropolis blue. It's a very bright kind of blue. Not as bright as this one here. Like, put these two guys together, when we've seen them in some videos together, this is a more bright popping blue. This one's a little bit subdued in that sense. It almost has like a 30s feel to it, you know, something a little dark and dirty, so to speak. But this one, man, that's still Metropolis blue. This might be early Metropolis blue or 30s Metropolis blue. But again, between these two, we're so close. We're so close to getting a perfect Superman. And I think in 2025, we're going to get more Superman figures, of course. And I think if we retool this body buck to a different color scheme, maybe add on the metallic finish S logo, shrink the S logo on the cape as well, I think we'd have our perfect Superman. But given some of its flaws, I'm still going with this guy, which is unbelievable. Man, he's been a champ. And then we got our final Superman that I want to bring in. This has been my favorite go-to Superman for years. And this is my definitive Superman that I did so much toy surgery on. Extended the torso. We swapped out the S logo for a metallic S logo from the Rebirth Superman. We extended the neck peg to give him a better range of motion in the neck. We swapped out the ball pegs as well because they were just not doing it. But overall, this is and was my absolute favorite Superman. Is it still? The body buck is showing a bit of age. I'm going to say that. Proportions, the upper body is fantastic. I've seen a lot of people do from kind of Frankensteining torsos and swapping out leg parts, which is really cool. And I really think that's awesome that people have that ingenuity and imagination to do stuff like that. But I think this Superman for its time was the absolute best one. I'm going to say it's probably the second favorite Superman next to this guy, which, man, I can't believe a G1 Superman, which I didn't really care for. But I think the color combo, the head sculpt, the S logo, that beautiful sculpted cape, or excuse me, cloth wired cape with that S logo, that's so proportionate. It looks phenomenal. I think he's still our winner, but this one did have a lot of great things going for it. The S logo and the metallic finish looks fantastic. The range of motion on the head that we added with that extended neck peg looks just awesome. And you even have the S logo on the back. It's really nicely done. This is a nicer shade of blue as well. It's not super saturated. It's not dark as we've seen in some other figures like this guy here. It's kind of like a kind of a perfect melding between the two. It's not super dark, not super light. It's the perfect shade if you want that in your Superman figure. But comparing the two figures, I think hands down, the Action Comics Superman is my favorite Superman that has been released thus far from McFarlane Toys. Now we've seen some of the customs and our toy surgeries that we use to improve those Superman figures, and they've done a lot of improvements in my opinion. But for a figure that you just took out of the package and just enjoy, this one's really damn good. And that's the reason why it is my favorite Superman that has been released thus far. In the classic colors, it definitely resembles an Action Comics, a classic Superman. And there you go, guys. Thank you so much for staying with. This was a hell of a fun video comparing it with a lot of different Superman characters, but I think hands down, we have our winner as the best figure, the best Superman figure that McFarlane Toys has made straight out of the package. No toy surgery necessary or needed. Just a really good Superman. You see it on the shelves, you see it online, pick it up. You're not going to be disappointed. It does come with that flight stand, which is so greatly appreciated as well. Beautiful packaging artwork, just a home run, stellar figure. McFarlane Toys needs to focus and make more figures like this. If they're going to do retooling and using a G1 body block, better make it damn good. I'm very curious to see how the Cyborg is going to turn out. He's using that G1 Murder Machine body block. Let's see how it turns out. That'll be coming up very soon in a video. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you had a good time. This was a real fun video to do. I think we're going to try maybe doing something like this with a Batman. That could be even a longer video, but we'll kind of tailor it to just our classic looking Batmans. And we can always do another video with our more elaborate Batmans and our different takes on Batman as well. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Who's your favorite Superman? I'm dying to hear in the comments below. Let me know. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.